My name's Megan, and I'm a yoga teacher. I teach yoga to adults in a studio, and I also teach yoga to kids in both the studio setting and with elementary schools, local elementary schools. So I've been practicing yoga since 2009, so coming up on 10 years now. And I've been teaching yoga since 2014. I've officially been teaching since 2015, so about 3.5, 4 years. We are a culture that's full of stress. We're overprogrammed, we're overworked. We just have so much going on, lots of pressure in our lives. And I think people are looking for a way to de-stress, right? Decompress, to start to learn how to quiet the mind. I think they're initially drawn to it because we're also a culture that's obsessed with fitness, right? And working out and toning our bodies. And so people come into it because they hear, oh, yoga's good for you and it'll, help you lose weight and it'll help you do all these things. But then people stick around in the practice because they find, oh, this is actually really good for helping me to calm my mind and helping me to regulate emotions and to de-stress. But they stick around because they find, hey, this is actually good for me in a lot of different ways. Culture of we have to do more, we have to produce more, we have to make more money, we have to have more things. It's this concept of more, and therefore I need to work more and more in order to do those things. We have this mentality of, my life is my work and I am what I do for a living. And I think people are starting to realize, there's more to life than that. It's also, we're experiencing detrimental side effects to our health, to our mental health, physical health, etc. And Vitaly was coming in, he was called to come in and talk to our group of students specifically about research that he has found both around the benefits of yoga and mindfulness practices, both in dealing with stress and dealing with difficult emotions, and also kind of around the physiology, right? So what does the practice of yoga, what does the practice of meditation do for our physiology? Slow down the mind, how it helps us to kind of reprogram the brain. I remember being really struck by how much research there was, that he was backing up his information with so much of this research. And I knew that the research was out there. I've heard of it, I've read articles here and there, but it's nice to have come across somebody who has dedicated so much time to doing the actual research and relaying that information to us, because it's hefty. It's a lot to sit down and read all of the studies, and it's important to sit down and read all of the studies, but it's nice that he kind of condensed that and shared that with us in these bite-sized morsels. Other thing that really stood out for me in this conversation was this concept of epigenetics, right? I had heard the term before, I kind of loosely knew what it was, but the concept that this idea of trauma and deep emotions, deep pain that can be passed down from generation to generation and also potentially has the ability to reprogram our genetic makeup. To me, that was really just fascinating, mind-blowing, and exciting. So looking at it from all of these different angles, I think is really helpful. And like Vitaly and I have talked about, I think the most important part is now I can take active steps to create a different reality for myself. It's empowering. It's definitely an empowering feeling, and it's been helpful in my personal life. So Descartes, I think therefore I am. Right? We became very accustomed to this notion. I think that we, as human beings, started to believe that to be true. And so we started to associate who we are and who, our true selves with the thoughts that we have. And that's terrifying when you think about how many thousands of thoughts that you have throughout the day. We are the person behind the thoughts. And I think that that is certainly what Vitaly touched on in our conversations, and it's also what we strive to create for our yoga students, is this awareness of the person who is there, of that being who is constantly there beyond the, beyond the mind, beyond the body, beyond, even the physical, spiritual self. Who is that person that's beyond, that's behind all of that, so that we're witnessing to the thoughts, so that we then have control of our thoughts. Vitaly's talk, it just inspired me to do more of the research, to seek it out from him, to know that I have a really good resource, both in him and on the website, to get a lot of this information, just to help me feel more confident in my own practice and what I'm offering to other people. Just helping us to learn how to deal with those emotions, both for this adult generation and for the adult generations that are to come. I think it's really important.